Aha. And welcome back. This is Ramshackle Productions. We are doing a Baleful Hell. And you're probably, like the rest of us, sitting there saying, well, what does that even mean? That's the name of the campaign. And hopefully, by session 24, if we all go to plan, it will be readily apparent as to why we have named the stream as such. Until then, we invite you to suspend disbelief and come and join us. So, my name's Lee. I am taking the reins over from our illustrious DM, Billy, who has been so gracious to give me a break and take us through what I would consider a fantastic Tales from the Yawning Portal module, the Sunless Citadel, expertly run. I think we'll all remember Meepo in our hearts and in our dreams. This group, as it's come together, we're 2 months after our Session 0 campaign, which took the characters assembled here from level 1 up to level 3. We are doing a by XP base. Yeah, you're level 3.
Dave's just being weird.
You trying to get a free level? Trying to get a free level?
Look into the camera.
Why would I look into the camera?
Because that's where the viewers.
This is candid D&D.
Yeah. Candid D&D. Okay, sorry.
D&D After Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
We get into the sheets. Yeah.
What's the?
Yes!
I was just stretching. If we could get the studio door that seems to have blown ajar, a very drafty dungeon in which we reside and do stuff in. Let us begin. So 2 months have passed since the Sunless Citadel. The group has brought in a new individual, Glasmaline Anvilchest, a dwarven woman with the ability to heal, some type of a cleric. The party doesn't know that much about her except for they found her bound to the tree, about to be sacrificed and turned into a Groot-like acolyte for a nefarious druid that had been plaguing the area. They had gone through and successfully purged a kobold entire community, a goblin entire community. There was actually a rat queen, and that entire community was also destroyed. So you're seeing a lot of differences from the activities, the murder hobo-ness of this group that we saw in the Curse of Strahd campaign, which led to community after community just being completely wrecked as these agents of chaos came through. That bell means that the intro is now complete, and we will be moving forward into what has happened in the interim. So,
What has happened?
2 months you have gone to Oakhurst. You were able to present the signet rings and the armor back to the owner of the mercantile store there. They were able to come to grips with what had happened and an understanding that this great dragon citadel had completely slid under the surface of Faerun down into a subterranean cavern somewhere between the Underdark and further up to the surface. You find it odd because within Faerun around this time, not but a year ago, tales are being sung of a group of adventurers that were able to stop the great dragon cults from being able to bring Tiamat from the Nine Hells to the material plane. And in doing this, the view of dragons, of creatures of fantasy, has been suspended. We've seen dragons out there, but the public's hatred of dragons has never been higher. Think of a time during World War II, for example, whenever U.S. folks, regardless of if they were U.S. citizens for generations, but were of Japanese or Oriental descent, were viewed as the enemy. And so dragons are viewed much in the same way in this world, in that you have come up, and some of you are of varying ages, but as you are all either in early adulthood or approaching middle age, the formative years of your life have been this dragon cult slowly gaining power. So religious centers that you've encountered in your life have kind of put the old religions aside, and this new dragon cult was the new it thing, as a lot of you were coming about. And you find that this dragon euphoria, where there was the adulation of metallic versus chromatic versus jewel-based dragons, for those that are from the Far East, which we would have with Genji.
So absent.
So absent.
He died between sessions.
Yeah, we'll
We should
get
have
to that point.
have the
here
sword
in a second.
sitting up in his.
So,
seat.
yeah. So,
Here, you got to do it. I'm gonna just dump the sword out. There you go.
So he's dead. But Glasmoline, even you, being on the eastern reaches of Faerun, on the other side of the Underchasm,
That's right, isn't it?
that's where you grew up, and you know that there are types of dragons that don't fall into the pantheon that those Westerners seem to think of. They don't understand of the jewel-based dragons. And so as Chaz was going through the plunder that you guys had been able to recover from the Sunken Citadel, he was very asphyxiated on these. It was robbing his attention, robbing the oxygen of his brain. He was just maniacally focused on these jade dragon idols.
That's right.
That came, and you noticed that Genji was very off-put by anything jade. Something you found, a little bit of a marker in your head.
Yeah, racist. Yep.
So as we go, you went back to Oakhurst. You sold a lot of your items off. You returned the signet rings. You received your payment for being able to bring back news as to what had happened from them. And with your collected booty, you guys decided to say, what is the best place to go? We can go to Luskin, which Jotun was a little bit more interested in just due to the magical nature of the city. But you guys, after having a brush with the druid and a brush with that goblin sorcerer down within the Sunless Citadel, said, let's go to something we know a little bit more, and that is the city of Waterdeep. And sure enough, as you arrive into Waterdeep, for the next 2 months, you help Chaz Waggleshaft establish a new front for his business. A new place for him to be able to start collecting the resources necessary and apply his talents, the knowledge that he had gained down within the Sunless Citadel, to be able to start investigating stuff on the side for you guys, and then start a viable revenue stream to be able to get enough money so that you guys eventually one day would be able to retake Merkin Peak. And so, with Sir Arthur Tillery in tow, he opens up Tillery's Trinkets,
Ah.
a magical item shop within the city of Waterdeep.
Yeah.
And you guys not only have a decent amount of storefront, over 600 square feet, which in Waterdeep is hard to come by, but there are also a second story which has several rooms up there. So should you ever need a place to crash within the city of Waterdeep, Chaz is more than happy to put you up at Tillery's Trinkets.
Fantastic.
And in doing so, you guys help pay in and help collaboratively fund.
This isn't.
Oh yeah.
This is
Yeah.
Oh, this is
this is not complimentary.
this is interesting.
Yes. And so welcome to Investment Theory 301, where we will talk about how you can buy in on business fronts in a medieval setting and be able to use this to diversify revenue streams and thus find your riches.
But question for you.
Please.
So, if I were to find the 3 or 4 people maybe that want to work under me in this organization, could they then get 3 or 4 people under them, and then from there 3 or 4, 3 or 4? So eventually, I'm at the top of the triangle.
Oh, I heard of them there. That's called a triangle scheme.
Yeah. At which point, I'm the precipice. Yeah.
So whenever you say precipice, you will never be higher than Chaz, except for whenever you're standing, as he is a gnome.
Makes sense.
But Chaz so oft to mount Jotun and ride him into battle, Chaz will always have that helping hand to put him up. But as you guys spend your time here in Waterdeep, Glasmoline, you find it interesting to be around so many people, but you're still feeling that same level of isolation from your captivity. Your journey through the Underdark, from east of the Underchasm all the way over to Western Faerun, was fraught with many a danger, and you took solace in the solitude. However, it is disconcerting that you could be in such a big crowd and yet feel so alone. Jotun, you have been looking for any way to be able to challenge folks. You've done this from as you were traveling from Oakhurst down to Waterdeep, doing games of memory, to as you guys would go drink out at different public houses, challenging folks to trivia contests. Any way that you could demonstrate your intellectual and even physical superiority. You've been largely successful. It has fed you and nurtured you. You've gone through and in dealing found the magical inks, the papers to be able to transfer the scrolls that you guys had recovered into your spell book. And for the rest of you who, again, remember, this is shortly after the Scourge, after the Spell Plague, and magic is not something that is widely leveraged out there. And to see somebody who so willingly dives into this and is willing to practice is something you have not found before. And how focused he is, you think he's either fucking crazy or you think that maybe he has in him an ability that we have not seen amongst some of the other priests, some of the other magic users that you've come across in life. As you look across Bronson, and he took the biggest brunt of the damage as you guys were going, as he was often front and sometimes hit from the back and the sides from his own party. Bronson continues to lick his wounds and constantly is an edgy figure in that there is something that is driving him. Some of you, Jotun and Glasmoline specifically, you wonder if you'll ever really know. In the quiet times, whenever he seems to be off in his mind in another place, the only one that really seems to be able to shake him out of it is our famous bard Volker. And they will go off and have conversations. You hear the name the Seven Sons Trading Company come up in almost every single exchange that they have. And so you continue to travel down, and once you've made Waterdeep and you've stood up Tillery's Trinkets, you've been able to go through and sit back and say, what is next? we've achieved a level. We've seen with that initial taste into adventuring that there's actually a livelihood to be made here. More gold than any of you have seen in your lifetimes. And Glasmoon, that's even with you with a lot of the churches and religious temples within the eastern side of the empire, and looked around. You haven't seen that kind of instant wealth, and to you guys, there's a lot of possibility here. Be it the need to prove yourself, be it the need to discover new ways of living, or to find those and act vengeance upon those who have wronged you. This party is coalesced together. And so you find yourselves in Waterdeep and trying to decide what to do in the second floor of Tillery's Trinkets. You've seen for the past week and a half, Glasmoline has been with a very large dried piece of wood, carving with these hand tools and interesting shapes, different types of blades that you've never seen before. You assume through your own collective ignorance some type of dwarven based tools, and she has been whittling away at two different pieces of wood. The first one almost that she's learning off of, the second one for a purpose that you do not know. And so for the last 2 weeks, she has been going through and carving this thing up, and when asked, you guys learn of this.
Looter's gonna loot. Glass has befriended Zira Faywin and promised her a finely crafted loot in trade for a cloak of billowing. After trying her hands at instruments in the past, she is fairly certain she can improve on the effort. Given by Zira, so this is a quest tile.
Oh, interesting.
So given by Zira, the reward is a cloak of billowing. Any additional info? As you've been checking around in Waterdeep, you have heard that Zira headed towards Daggerford.
So for the last several weeks, as Glasmoline would leave and head off into different public houses to look around and start to go and ply her trade, she has discovered that her friend, who she had met here previously, has left the town and has gone to a different area within Faerun. And within that, you, through some pretty rigorous detective work, have found that probably 2 days prior to you guys showing up in Waterdeep, that she had left town. But she had recently come back to collect an item from her residence and has left 24 hours prior to the current day, which is the 1st of Eliun. This is Lath Day, so think of Saturday. Again, the work week in Faerun is a 10-day.
Of course.
The work week is 7 of those 10 days, so think of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then there's 2 additional days. So 2 days for free.
Wait, 3 additional days, right?
Yes.
7 out of 10, like the French calendar.
Indeed. Except for the month of August, people still work, but we can go into that later. International
Not on
labor
a holiday?
is horrible. Yeah. Anyway. So, you guys go through and through a contact Servi Thrivor the Fox.
I'm sorry. One more time?
Servi Thrivor
Servi Thrivor.
the Fox.
Wow.
Who is a very rotund, wart-ridden, fat, bald dwarf.
Gross.
He's a broker of knowledge within some of the areas within Waterdeep, and says that Zira had been seen 24 hours ago, as I think my daughter's bullying us right now.
Leave us alone.
Yeah. Doing a turnaround kick, busting doors down. So she, as Glasmaline's been looking, we find that Zero has come back to her residence, collected some type of an item, most likely one that could be carried on a person, and has gone from the city towards the town of Daggerford. As Glasmaline, this very morning, has gone through and... Hey, buddy. You want to sit here? All right.
This is our.
Yeah.
This is not an actor. This is a real gnome.
Yes.
Be
It's
careful.
A lap gnome.
She
You
does
can't
not.
see her.
She does not have a full grasp of her spellcasting.
Hey, did Mommy leave you? That's rude. And so, in the afternoon that Glasmaline learns this, you see with a quick vigor, she begins to very quickly start finishing her first of the loots. And after conversing with Chaz, comes back in and presents a loot of illusions.
Loot of illusions. Not an illusion.
I see where you guys are going with that. And so the loot...
Absolutely the fucking worst.
Here's a reroll.
Absolutely.
Oh no, that's an advantage. Here's a reroll. And so you see Volker plucking away on his loot, and Glasmaline very respectfully comes with a very loot-shaped looking towel over an object.
Valkyr, you cut me from my binds, saved me from becoming a thrall. The only way I know to repay the debt is to help you in your craft, so I took me with the sticks and I put this together for you.
Do I know about this mission already?
You probably would have that, you know, when asked why she has 2 hunks of wood that she's been hollowing out and cutting down, she's probably said that she's making instruments. It's, you know, Glasmaline, Glasmaline, it's up to you if you want to, how much you've shared.
Yeah. On my way from the east, the mid-Sierra, I was having some troubles with finances and I'm down on my luck and then lost my best crook. She'd promised if I made her loot, she'd give me a good cloak. So there we are. But your loot, the reason I made it is because you saved me. You cut the vines on my hand and took me from the tree. While your friends were figuring out what to do with me, you showed me trust and saved me life. And while I still owe you a life debt, the least I can do is give you wood.
Oh.
Bye.
Ooh.
There you go.
Bye, guys.
I'll stop playing mine and put it down and grasp quickly the ones from her.
So you see Chaz looking over at Glasmaline's shoulder, and he's got an ear-to-ear grin, and you see him slowly taking this kind of metal wire, and that looks roughly like the strings that would go on that, and you see him rolling it up and pocketing it.
So it's not complete? Is that what you're saying?
No, it is.
Okay. The one he just handed me is complete.
She
Yes.
handed you a complete loot.
Yeah.
We gotta get you a
I'm
body
gonna
suit.
do this every time someone calls me a he. I'm gonna adjust my breasts.
So I'm gonna grab it.
Okay.
And I'm gonna start.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna start playing it a little bit, like tuning
So
it
what
in.
goes through your head as you're playing? What do you think about while you play?
I'm working on my next
Next hit single.
chorus, piece
Okay.
of the chorus for my hit song.
And what would you want in the heart of those that you
Fear.
Oh no, like
Just a minute with
this story is amazing. Like this individual is totally grasped our attention, and we're so
So
excited.
the rest of you, as you watch him kind of plucking away, not only is the sound quality significantly better on this instrument than this other one that's, you know, probably has some kind of weird mosses growing on the inside of the lute in the sound chamber, and, you know, has all these nick marks all over it. This very pristine, beautifully necked lute. He starts playing on it, and within 5 feet around him, as you see kind of what he's thinking about, you see musical notes as they're pouring out of it materialize into different shapes.
That's cool.
And you can see him thinking through, like, I want this to have a little bit more of an angry feel. And as he starts playing a little bit harder, you see the notes turn into a dragon. You see them pull away. And so you have a Lute of Illusions now where within 5 feet around you, you are able to project any type of minor illusion that starts out as musical notes and turns into any shape that you would care for.
Would that be a custom item?
Yes, it is.
Add a custom item. A Lute of Illusion. This thing? Lute?
Truly an instrument worthy of an Asimov.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah, that's the joys of parenthood, right?
She wants to play in the
And
D&D room.
in the D&D room.
For I am a bard who escapes from jails. And I'll like tune it a little bit, and then for I am a bard who's first on the trails, and I am a bard.
And you're seeing a bard in musical notes, like in this kind of almost smoke, multicolored smoke, but it seems more tangible than smoke going forward.
For I am a bard whose loins are quite rare. And I am a bard who is last to the prayer. And then like I start going into the other sections.
Okay.
So now I'm like building out my song as our story goes along.
So the musical notes turn into illusions of whatever he's thinking of.
Is it what's in this? Oh, it's whatever I'm thinking. So it doesn't. The song is just whatever. So it's kind of like
You
what
can
I
play
want.
anything you want,
What I would project.
but whatever you were thinking is what this thing is.
So it's super good for distracting crowds and like grabbing attention. And I
Sure.
took 5 feet though.
Yeah, but you're...
Oh no, the illusion's just projected within 5
Yeah.
feet. But if you were in the back of the room, you could see it.
Sure, yeah.
So we go into a town. I play this. People are like, "What?"
The point is you could be singing a song and be thinking about the things that are happening
And
in
it
the
should
song.
be
You
in,
have a ship and then
D&D.
an island and then a dragon and then
Was it?
It should be in D&D Beyond. You shouldn't have to make anything.
Make any guesses.
How do you? I spelled lute Lute
Yeah.
of illusion.
No, it's an instrument of illusion.
Ah.
That's why.
Duh.
And that's good to bring up our sponsor.
D&D Beyond.
So when you're adding,
illusory loots.
Nice. Alright, cool.
hello Darrow.
Continue the rough man. It was really well
Very
done.
good, Glasmelin. It
Name's
has quite the.
Glasman and Amber.
Glasmelin, just as I said,
My
I'm
friends
the
call me
bard.
Glas.
I know how to speak.
You
Thank
still
you.
call me Glasman.
I know how to speak quite well.
Is that your voice always sounds like that?
Yes, I'm working on it. I'm singing.
I found myself slipping.
Seems to me this lad's got a different voice every time I talk to him.
But that's the beauty of a performer.
As I was driving here, I was practicing my voice.
touche, lad, touche.
I kept falling from Scottish into Russian, from Scottish to
Oh,
Russian.
it's impossible. Like, to not start talking like whatever vendor we're talking to
Yeah.
when Lee is DM. It's so bad.
Very nice. Nubian. Yes.
Can't help but fall in. Can't help
So you guys have seen that she has wrapped the other instrument that she's working
for her
on,
friend.
and Glasmelin looks like she's ready to leave. So you guys are in the second floor of Tillery's Trinkets, in the kind of the dormitory area. What actions do you care to take?
Well, that was quite a instrument you made for our friend there. Did you happen to take a look at this bone scroll that we found a few months ago?
Yeah, for sure, lad. Pass it on.
It's in Dwarvish, and I don't believe anyone else here speaks it.
I'm actually quite proficient in the languages, the nomenclatures, and the taxonomies of the language, the linguistness within all things Dwarven Malay.
I bet the little boy over there's got something to do with the gnomon nature of things. Wouldn't be surprised at all. He's tiny, is what I'm saying.
Like a cunning linguist.
Indeed. I have been near the
We're
leaky
both
nest
elbowing each
quite
other
a
in
few
the
times.
Well, a thing like this it's a thing for sure. You could probably sell it to some sort of dwarven vendor for some money, but it's useless as far as anything we could do with it. It means nothing to me. It means nothing to most. A collector of antiquities might like it though.
Perhaps our friend Chaz might find a use for it.
Yeah, I would be more than happy to take it. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry, big lad, she doesn't want nothing to do with your bone shaft.
I see what you did there.
So
Leaving me blue.
I must get this loot to Zera. I need to head to Daggerford.
We should find this Zira, so I could entertain her.
How far is the travel?
From Waterdeep to Daggerford? It's more than a few days. It's quite a ways actually. It's on the border of Cormyr. C-O-R-M-Y-R.
I'd like to do a perhaps knowledge check, insight check, probably to see would there be any interest for Bronson to be seeing what's going on. Daggerfall? What is it called?
Daggerford.
Daggerford?
So if you guys come, it's in between Waterdeep and Baldur's Gate on the main road.
See it?
As you're coming down before you get to the Troll Hills or the Trollbark Forest, Daggerford's along like the main river that kind of bisects between that area and kind of the north of the Sword Coast.
You see it?
Would yeah.
It's by the moving mouse.
Almost.
Aha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the way to Cormyr. That was my next stop on the way.
So, would Bronson have any interest in investigating Daggerford as far as Seven Sons Trading Co. and things
So,
of that nature?
That's a good point. So, while you guys have been spending some downtime, you've been bouncing around, especially around the docks. The docks within Waterdeep are where commerce takes place on a day-to-day basis. You have the Lords of Waterdeep who run the commerce, but the day-to-day interaction, the folks that you would find your abilities allow you to interface with. Because keep in mind, like in Oakhurst, you're regarded as heroes.
Sure.
Because you're able to bring the remains
saved
of the
that
kids
town,
back,
yeah.
and you save that town. But outside of it, you guys are not well known at all.
Right.
And so in Waterdeep, you are very much so just another piece of shit on the
Level
rolling
3
wheel of all that is Waterdeep.
Yep.
And so,
Except for me.
no, you're known more in Baldur's Gate, if I'm not mistaken. Is
I'm
where
known.
it went.
I'm known
You're
fairly well in most taverns.
Okay.
For I
They-
am a man.
Fact is, he's well known because of his toits. We make fun of him all day. I say that not very quietly.
If you look directly, I might not be wearing anything under this.
A good lad wears nothing under his kilt. Now, we lasses, that's why we don't wear skirts and kilts. We wear pants.
I've seen that she wears nothing under
He
that.
looks like a lady, is what I'm saying. He's got fine calves.
Quite interesting.
And you guys would see him as the most attractive out of the group,
Sure.
simply because of his Aasimar bloodline.
He's got
Part God.
He's got sweet calves.
Yeah.
They're really, really good calves.
Yeah, really good. So you guys, you know Daggerford is not that far. Probably a day and a half, depending on how you guys are traveling. Most likely, there's plenty of carriages that go to and fro. So that's about a day and a half if you're really pushing it. To be able to just travel out on your feet, you're looking at probably about a week.
Oh wow.
But nothing.
It's not 100 miles away.
Cool. Well, I grew up not too far from Daggerford out here in the bay, and I reckon some of the lads that used to work for my family's trading co. before that was broken up and taken over might have found themselves out and about in those towns in this area. So if you don't mind, I'll be tagging along and see if I can look up any of my old lads that used to work for Ball Trading.
Yeah, and so you've exhausted what you would consider to be information hubs in Waterdeep that you
Right.
have access to right now.
Right.
You found that the Seven Sons have been working with the Jade Syndicate.
Yep.
And in looking into this, you find it odd that a syndicate, which normally you associate with as a crime organization,
Yep.
is so boldly labeled on these bills of travel and all the manifests for these shipping things that are coming back and forth.
Yep.
From your past and the assault on the Morrow, you do know that these ships come from Karatur around the south of Faerun,
Okay.
and then up along the Sword Coast.
Okay.
So what do you mean, like the Jade Syndicate is on? Their name is on manifest and bills of travel and whatever.
And it's a zero cost transfer.
So he
which is odd.
saw that.
So
Yes.
in the last month or two, between the time that we met Laz and have been establishing the sorry, what are we calling it? Tillery's Trinkets?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the time that Tillery's Trinkets has been getting up and running, I've been digging around and hitting up the contacts that I got in town. What I found to be the case is that the Seven Sons Trading Company's been doing some frisky business with some lads called the Jade Syndicate. We know this because bills of lading have been shown to have no charges between the two, shipping to and fro, lots of sketchy items, lots of expensive things that shouldn't be shipped here and fro for free. So we know that one's in the other's pocket, somebody's partnering with somebody else, and they're connected at the hip one way or another. We don't know how, we don't know why, but I do know that I've got beef with the Seven Sons. It looks to me like they're answering to, or a subsidiary thereof, the Jade Syndicates. I need to talk to our boy Genji with this funny mask that he's been wearing lately, and see if he knows anything about any of this type of stuff from back home, because I knows from them strange characters written on their bills of lading and all of their packages that they are from the east, and so's we need some more answers.
And Genji had left about a week ago and gone south, more towards the Baldur's Gate area. He was wanting to go south of the Troll Hills and be able to find a specific flower that grows down there that, if you're able to grind it and dry it into a paste, is within his belief system a way for you to burn and possibly have contact for guidance from your ancestors.
Oh, cool.
Could I have spent my downtime in the taverns of Waterdeep trying to find a point of contact to try and build as a source, if you will, for information on
Yeah,
Jade
give me a
Syndicate?
performance check.
Okay.
One performance check for all summer worth of
Yeah,
investigating.
I mean, 20.
Oh!
Unnatural.
Whoa!
Okay.
Whoa!
So
360, no scope.
360 no scope on that performance.
and that's two. So yeah, you've been bouncing around from tavern to tavern. You've almost spent the first month simply trying to find where your sound will be picked up.
Okay,
is it
yeah,
closer
yeah,
to the docks? Is it in the more affluent areas? You've got the proper clothing to be able to make the adjustment to look good, but you wanted to see what's the pulse of Waterdeep as of late, since you haven't spent that much time within the performance scene here. You do come across a promoter who is very interested in being able to pull you in and not necessarily sign you
Right.
or obligate you to anything, but is interested in really understanding, can you play the traditional holiday, ballads that they need to have for specific ceremonies? How many different religions do you know the different songs on? If you ever need to get pulled into there, they're just looking for what type of a multi-purpose bard could you be leveraged for. You seem to be very multi-talented based upon that check, and he's come and seen you in several different areas. You're brought in waiting for payment within one of the bars, And that's whenever you have him first come in and he approaches you. And I've got to get his information pulled up here 1 second.
This is clearly not a loot.
Chaz does have some nice music in his shop there, doesn't he?
So,
Hello, Darrow!
Baltar McClellan
There he is.
There he
is a fat, old, lush human. He's got this kind of fiery auburn-colored hair with skunk stripes of gray that go down the side of his hair and then down the front of his beard. You gauge him about 58. He's a very boisterous, round-bellied man, and his beard, as it tumbles down, threatens to go to like an unruly excess, but is just clean enough to where he could be taken seriously for business. Hygiene's not what he really cares about. The guy smells of moldy Red Bull. A very metallic funk follows him, but people seem to cower to what his wants and his needs are. Anytime you've seen him walk in, and you've noticed him in several of your performances, the crowd kind of splits and he gets prime seating. You're not sure if it's because of his odorous assault or if it's just through their own respect of him. But he comes and pops down. He's seen kind of as an underboss within the streets of Waterdeep. He carries some respect, and as you're waiting for payment, he comes in. Hi, I'm Bolter McClellan. I've seen you and several of the different taverns through the different layers of Waterdeep, and I want to know, do you have representation within the Sword Coast?
I do not yet have representation. I have not been long here.
Aye, and, that's readily apparent because you've walked into some pretty shite-covered facilities. I need you to maybe focus on where a gentleman is, shall we say, finely crafted, as you are with your angular cheeks and your singular chin. You're probably going to want to go to the more affluent neighborhoods, and for 80% of the till, I will be more than happy to be able to set you up there.
Well, in the past, I worked for a 40-60 split. 60 my way.
I understand. You probably come from, some type of an inbred stockhouse where everybody looks and talks the same. You probably came from, a small, just piss in a bucket type of town. But this is Waterdeep, where lots of buckets are pissed in and many people are pissed upon. So unless you care to soil those very tight and well-formed breaches, I really suggest perhaps you and I come to an arrangement, either monetarily or otherwise.
Are we here for this?
I was just gonna say this is sidestepped over to him in a bar, right? The rest of us are not present. Okay.
Right.
Aha.
A new challenger approaches.
Well, I believe otherwise may be an option. What were you thinking?
Try to set this up instead.
Let's just say I enjoy the company of individuals that are very unique in their look and in their oral talents.
Asians?
Yeah, we really need that.
No? Okay.
And he just stares at me.
Okay.
So,
I believe...
80-20 is an arrangement that is typical. I can see that you are a very unique talent. Perhaps I may break precedent here and go 70-30.
70-30 would be agreeable if there's one other thing you can help me with.
And what might that be?
On the way into the city, I asked the town guards from the north gate. I've been looking for a friend who is in the employ of the Seven Sons Trading Company. Any information that would help me find my long-lost friend?
Well, if your friend is lost, or even if he's long, if you catch my meaning, I don't think you'll be off to be able to find him. If somebody's been dealing with those bastards, the Seven Sons, and goes missing, they don't ever come back.
Well, I don't think he was in a bad place with them. I messaged him not long ago, and he was able to get me a signal back. This was from a long time ago. We're friends, you see, from Moharand, the small piss bucket town where I grew up.
Moharand is not a piss bucket.
Oh, so you were wrong.
Much too arid out there after the spell plague for anything. Piss, shite, blood, even ale. It comes near evaporating almost instantly out there. Quiet as you open up those Julios, god damn it! And you hear him yell at one of the guys in the back.
I'll be back shortly to discuss our first contract with 7030 and any information you could dig up for me.
Nice,
Why
certainly.
would you wear sunglasses?
Why would I wear them anyway?
So then he heads out.
Oh my god.
I just gotta get the strap's not very good. I'm gonna have to fix that. But
So you've strapped on.
Strapped
So
on.
it begins.
yeah.
Let's see how long this
We're gonna have to do
is.
something.
So Baltair, goes off about his way. That evening, late into the night, Valkyr comes back to Tillery's Trinkets. And you guys are able to all reunite. Genji has since returned and comes in that evening and has found the flower that he was looking at. You see him mid-afternoon as he's returned, grinding it on a stone and leaves it out in the sun to dry. Comes back and scrapes the paste into a small leather bag. Very small, almost like a coin purse. And he scrapes it, puts it in there, and returns up to Tillery's Trinkets for rest that evening.
Nice.
What are your actions?
Genji, what are you doing with the flower?
So
Since
Genji
you've been gone
relates.
so long.
Genji
You
relates.
don't
that
know, do you?
It's a very good question.
As he's booting up, Genji relates to you that his reverence, not necessarily his god, but the way that he finds meaning is through his ancestral line. And that near the Troll Hills, there was a specific flower that grew out there that, if burnt with your morning incense offering, would be one that...
Oh, God.
my maids appreciate it.
I don't know how I'm gonna figure this out. There's some logistics we need to figure out here.
I think it was worth it.
Oh, please don't. I'm not gonna leave a mess.
And the nose picking goes
Beautiful
back.
floor.
So,
He goes back in his own shit. Damn
he
it.
tells you about this is a good way for him during his morning prayers if he's really looking for guidance. A way to be able to increase his ability to find, some kind of focus from his ancestors. So he needs, mark down that you've got the Paste of Waking, and it has 3 charges, and that's what you've spent your downtime doing.
Okay.
And we all know that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it.
Sweet.
I'm gonna tell him about the quest, and that we'll probably be heading out to Daggerford. That's what we all agree
Yeah,
on.
Genji, you're almost assaulted by Bronson, who is very much a in-your-face if he wants to get information out of you, he's going to engage you in conversation and make it very overt that he's wanting to have a conversation. And so, slap on the trap, and he's kind of shaking you a little bit and asks you, what the fuck do you know about the Jade Syndicate?
Not mad at you per se.
Yeah, not mad.
Just intense.
Very urgent and wanting to know. And you know that there were undersided business dealings that out of the different jewels within Karakawa, Kazakura, within the different areas as you hailed from the Ruby area, there was a criminal underbelly that dealt with that jewel in their title, but that the Jade Syndicate was from the enemy side, if you will. And they are extremely distasteful. Whenever you found the Jade Dragon figures, you wanted nothing to do with the Jade. You fucking hate it. And so you had pretty much articulated that these are criminals. It is a organized crime element from the area, and you're very interested in knowing how. So we open up with this conversation.
So I'm gonna bring Genji up to speed. Bronson, shit, I want to go through it all again. So in these months, since we've been helping Chaz set up his shop here in Waterdeep, I've been poking around my old contacts and some insidious fellows that I've kept in touch with over the years, and found that the trading co that screwed over my family's branch of the ball trading co, put them under, and my uncle sold it all out from under our feet to the Seven Sons. I've been finding that the Seven Sons does business with these here Jade Syndicates. And not just doing business, but transporting to and fro totally free of charge, and they're moving big, expensive stuff. Seems to me that one's in the other's pocket, and they're working together and attached at the hip in some form or fashion. And as you know, me and Valkyr over there have been doing our best to find out what the Seven Sons has been up to, and if we can, we're trying to take them down in the long run, or at least figure out what sort of evil bullshit they've been up to in the countryside that's brought their heads down on our heads. So it seems to me any information that you can bring to the table that pertains to the Jade Syndicate probably be in all of our best interests, as they seems to be the ones pulling the strings behind the whole big deal.
Jade Syndicate, a very dishonored.
So you could hear it before you came.
Yeah. If it was hard to understand it before, now it's a joke.
This isn't going to last very long. It's not comfortable.
What is this on
Jeez.
So as you, as they're conversing, and the rest of you guys are in the common area where you're hearing this go on, Genji talks about, that, honor is the dividing line between us and, the proper species of the world, and those that would just want it to descend into chaos. And that the Great Ruby Dragon watches every interaction that you have, and you are judged on a very large abacus of every single action, decision that you've taken in life. And not only are you judged, but those that came before you in your line are summarily judged. And so if your family name falls, then the quality of those that have gone before you in their afterlife suffers as well. And so you see that there's a lot of permanence, that there is a lot of thought that goes into Genji's pantheon of beliefs going forward, and he finds the Jade Syndicate extremely distasteful. So it is in proper alignment with what you have seen out of the Ball Trading Company being absorbed within the Seven Sons. And you find it odd that they are so blatant in being linked with the syndicate on all these bill of ladings that are coming out on all the stuff along the docks.
Yep. It ain't right.
No.
No.
When do you think we should leave
Radio
for
Syndicate
our
needed justice.
trip south?
Boy.
As you say that, Glasmalin stands up from her chair and with a toss of her shoulder, her wolfskin cloak sort of billows dramatically behind her.
Something else billowed.
Yeah. This cloak was a gift from Zera. I need to get her this loot to pay back my debt to her.
Oh, he's got the cloak already.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Watch this. And she flicks like one shoulder and like half of it looks like the wind's blowing on it while the other half falls limp. She does the other side. Now it's shifted.
And it's fucking dramatic.
It's
Dramatic billowing.
How useful the cloak seems.
Where are you?
love to use that.
Billowing. Yes.
And
I'm
if you-
still figuring out my
let's-
voice, by the way.
let's
So
say-
let me get there.
We
Yeah.
can
Say,
tell.
Yeah.
say for
Thanks.
example, you get a little water in your face, like, and she takes a small cup, a small bit of ale that she has, and she throws it in your face,
Yeah.
and then she turns her back to you and she flicks, and then her cloak like billows and dries your face.
Wow.
Fucking useful now, ain't it?
No, that's a harrow.
Anyone put it here?
I don't know what he fucking said.
this is great.
This is the best part because
Really uncomfortable.
it's totally uncomfortable. But for the rest of the campaign, if we can't understand a word your character says,
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah. I just gotta let the face breathe a little bit, man. This is like there's two little.
it's
notes.
really cool, man. Stuff.
Yeah, I like
So,
it.
We should. What time of day is it?
So it's evening now.
Evening now.
I'll put it on
So
Mortal
he's
Kombat.
think about like
There you go.
medieval times. Folks don't
Great
play-
restaurant, by the way. Their
Yeah.
steak is amazing.
I put it over there.
No.
The Cornish game is pretty decent though.
Did you just take this out of my hand?
Yeah,
Being
put it
able
over
to
there.
like they don't stay out till 2 a.m. for a headliner. It's
Yeah.
usually like you're sitting down for dinner and the headliner's playing. So we'll say it's about 10 p.m. By the time he gets done playing,
Okay.
has his interaction, and then returns back. So we're right around midnight right now.
Been a pretty restful day for me. I'm good to hit the road. Just walk for a few hours and sleep on the side. We can look at the stars. I can draw some pictures and talk to Genji about his deluded innocence of his religious beliefs.
Where are we all? We're at the inn where he was playing.
You're not at the end. You guys are all back at the second
Tillery's.
floor of Tillery's
Got it.
Trinkets.
Okay.
Do we know how much a carriage would be to Daggerford? Is that affordable?
Nobody's investigated.
On my way back from my performance, I'll check in along inn or place I've seen.
So you're right.
Is that a thing? I just knew that we were gonna leave, so
We could
Oh,
either
I
send on
did-
foot or get a carriage, like you said. We could also hire on with there's train routes between Daggerford and Waterloo that run almost daily.
Ain't no trade routes leaving at midnight. They all
No.
left. They all left in the morning.
For sure, yeah.
If we want to take a carriage, we ought to get a full night's sleep.
Your Eminence,
Leave first thing in the morning.
Yes, this is a question for me. Okay.
have you seen how much horses cost to rent for the evening? It's killing me.
Who are you asking?
Eminence.
The DM.
Lord Almighty.
King of
Lord
Murphy
Waggleshap.
Peak.
Sir
Oh,
Artillery's master,
Chaz Waggle.
Chaz Waggleshap.
Chaz Michael.
Well, this is really going to depend on. Normally people like to rent horses to travel a place. Renting them for an evening, what the fuck are you going to do with them?
It's neither on
Noted.
Is Chaz wearing a little nightcap and like
Yes.
and
Yes.
striped pajamas?
With a very small, like 4 very well farmed, well cared for, and brushed chest hairs.
And he's got the little double button butt flap thing.
Oh yeah,
That's great.
you never know whenever it's going to hit you. I like spicy food.
to travel
Quick escape!
to travel with.
To travel down there, are you bringing them back? I mean,
Sure.
you,
As
you,
far as
you,
their
you have to
masters are
return,
concerned.
and then it's how many days you have them out. I mean, if you're going to look for rough estimates, it's usually about 5 copper per mile to take a caravan per person.
That's nothing.
You have to actually like outright buy the horse, just because of how crazy everything's been out there lately. They won't rent a horse to you.
I'd like to learn to ride a horse.
How much are
Learn some
horses?
things.
Horses are pretty fucking expensive.
What about jackasses? How much are they?
Well, I mean, you already got one here, so. You see what I said about that emissary? Burn to you.
I had no part of that argument.
Yeah, so it's 5,000 gold for a horse. They're 5,000. They are extremely rare here at Waterdeep.
What? That's insane.
Who could we speak with to get a ride? To rent a ride?
I could buy
You're walking.
If we wanted to jump on a supply caravan to go down there.
A week walk.
A supply caravan. You could try to travel with one. Most of the stuff coming out of Waterdeep is directly from the water, and so any of the other coastal spots would already be getting hit with the way that those are coming in. So most of the land travel goes directly north out of here up to Neverwinter, up to Luskin. But those still typically get hit by the boats as they continue north. If you're wanting to go up to like Everlund, Loudwater, Zelbros.
What about a boat to the south and then take the river near Daggerford?
Well, so if you notice, and you've traveled between Daggerford and Waterdeep,
as I have,
as people do, oft, I think is how it's pronounced in common. As people go in between there, you have a very deep, shall we say, harbor here at Waterdeep, which is why we got the name that we did. And you see mostly ocean-going vessels here. They would founder trying to go through the falls to go up along the Grey Flow River to get to Daggerford.
The road is just as good.
Lads, it seems to me we're going to be going on foot, and if we need to, when we get there, we can figure out alternate transportation and get back for it, any sort of urgency.
What about by air?
Oh, for fuck's sake, let's go. So, sleep for the night, wake at dawn, and we head south, yeah?
Bye.
Alright.
Well, good night. Glassmilly, if you find yourself not wanting to be around these ingrates, you're more than welcome to share my presidential quarters up here in the Rotunda Suite.
Chaz, there's much I can learn from you, and I look forward to the opportunity, but a roll in the hay with you, I think, would be a lesson I'd rather not learn.
Well, so, it's mostly horsehair, which, that's the mattress, which is why we're on a pretty severe...
And as he's saying that, she turns, her cloak billows dramatically.
Oh my god, look at that.
And she walks into her room and slams the door and goes to sleep.
A lot of deep lunges. She's very fit.
I'm gonna use the cantrip message and message you and say your eminence a foot rub before you go to sleep.
Oh my god.
Yes, emissary, if you wouldn't mind, we have interesting things we must attend to. Good night, the rest of you three.
Okay, dandelion.
I'll get my lute out to bring it into the room.
So
yes, certainly, music will be
as
done.
we're all going into our rooms, you can hear Ron muttering about gardening. You don't know what he said exactly necessarily.
In the last 2 months, what has happened here? I'm very confused.
Alright, so the evening passes into morning.
The second of a Lent.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
It is Loon Day.
Loon Day
Or Soon Day.
of the 10 day.
Yes, Soon Day, the goddess of beauty
Tim?
and love.
You're familiar with the 10 day.
Yeah.
The structure
So
of
far,
time.
we're 2/10 of a 10 day into the 10 day.
Thank you.
Well, actually, we're on the tail end of the
We
tail.
are.
So we're 9/10 of a 10 day into a 10 day.
Loon Day.
Actually, exactly. No, you're 8/10.
Oh, it's 8/10. Okay.
And if we reduce the lowest terms, 4/5.
4/5 of a 10 day.
10 doesn't sound like a word anymore. Is that what?
Yep.
Register for anybody?
So wait, Loon Day? Is that where we're at?
No. So
Yeah.
you were on Laugh Day,
Sunday
yes,
now.
and it's Soon Day for
Oh,
the goddess
Soon
Soon,
Day.
goddess of beauty
Is
and
that
love.
freaking Sunday? Why are we saying Soon Day?
Because
Because it's
it's
literally the days of
D-A-Y.
Got it.
These are the days of.
Fucking.
We're in the
uneducated
world.
Piece of shit.
That's
Wow.
All right, so you guys get up in the morning. Chaz gives you your breakfast. Is there anything that you want to grab before you go on?
As many water skins and rations as I can grab.
You have
Roll a d8.
like 6.
Roll a d8.
What do you mean?
Roll a d8.
Do we all do
6.
So you can purchase 6 water skins, should you care to.
Okay, I will do that.
That? I do that too.
Yeah, roll a d8.
I've only got the one. No, I've got 2.
I have 6 in my inventory. That's what
How,
I'm
how
saying.
much are they a piece?
Well, don't. I'm gonna cough and say, just let him and I purchase them, and we'll distribute them. As I get my voice back, as I start to work on the inflection, that's still too close. I'm trying something different. I'm a bard.
Are you and Judy getting
I'm a
something?
bard. See, my song voice is different from my normal voice.
I'm a bag.
For I am a bard.
Who drinks
I feel like if you start singing that, you just like.
Should be like a wiggling.
I am a bard.
Let me wings, let me wings.
That's how Jello Biafra taught himself to sing. He had a really nice singing voice, and he just started going like this. And that's the dip Kennedy's performing.
You missed the latest chorus of my masterpiece.
Roll me a charisma check.
Very sad.
Who?
You're buying 6.
Oh.
Sorry.
Chimichanga.
Wait.
Nothing funny.
That's not.
So you can get them for a silver piece.
I'll buy. How many do you have?
Yeah, it's 6.
How many? I can buy. Okay, I'll buy all 6.
Okay.
Is there, in my time here, have I happened to notice a blacksmith or a weapons merchant
Yeah, they're all over the place.
that happens to have already made a higher quality odachi than the one I have already?
Roll a D percentile.
Wow, that's heavy.
63.
I have 60 pounds in water.
Yeah. What are they, 10 pounds a piece or something like
I don't
that?
know, but
It's a gallon of water each.
So the one that
4
you
pints.
find, instead of being 2d6, is 2d8.
oh, shut up.
But it is only effective at 10 feet out. You would roll a disadvantage within 5 feet.
Understood. I'll stick with what I got for now.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because then I'm in the business of having to provoke attacks of opportunity every time I want to swing the thing. I don't want to do that. So. What I might do is just have some work done to this existing one. When we get
I don't speak metal, so I don't know what you're saying there.
Anyway.
All right. So the morning of, you guys are looking to depart. It's the 2nd of the month, Soon Day. You see that the storms that came through in the middle of the night have all but gone away. There's a slight fog that rolls in through the harbor itself, so you see masts of ships as you look to your west. Masts of ships kind of cutting through the low-lying fog. As you kind of walk up the bowl of Waterdeep out to the main road to Daggerford, you see that the normal hustle and bustle is starting to begin, almost comically to you, in that you're not sure, where you're going, what you're heading towards, but you're delivery people now, and it feels somewhat safer and almost trivial compared to what it was before. And that was you guys having to pile out and fight through the Sunless Citadel. You have a new companion in tow, the Jabberjawing Cheswaggleshaft not with you. It's eerily quiet as you guys go through the middle, and as you get to the gates. As you get to the gates and they open up before you, possibility seems to be the order of the day as you walk out. What is your order of march?
I can
You
go
gonna go first? Oh, okay. You're gonna go first or no? You just put
I'm
it
just
on.
putting it out there.
All right, we'll go Genji.
I'll go front.
I can take it the rear, I suppose.
I'll be next to last.
And if Bronson wants to be like side by side right next to me, I mean, he can make his mind up, but he'll probably want to be up.
That's pretty good.
All right. So the road south. You guys see multiple, single rider horses that look to be
Oh, fair. Yeah.
like. Think of not diplomatic necessary as far as couriers, but some type of organization's couriers. And they are either saying, give me the road, as they ride up behind you, or as they're riding directly at you, just kind of disregard the fact that there's people traveling on foot as they're shooting back and forth. So you know that everybody roll a history check.
Woo! 7.
17.
17.
21.
To get to it.
So Jotun, Volker, and Bronson, you guys know from the regal look about them, but the fact that they don't seem to have a singular uniform, these are probably couriers of the Lord's Alliance.
The Lord's Alliance.
The Lord's Alliance, which is a collection of the major townships, with the exception of Luskin, in the northern part of Faerun, along the Sword Coast, and basically they'll take the Grand Duke of Baldur's Gate, the Masked Lords of Waterdeep, all these major towns out here. It's in their best interest to kind of share help whenever things rise up. The last time you guys would have really heard were some questers that came out of the Lord's Alliance to help put down the Dragon Cult. And basically the charter is within Faerun to make sure that commerce is able to be kept up. So think of it as kind of like a highway patrol in a way, to where they're kind of guaranteeing inner city-state commerce between the different factions. Typically, the Flaming Fist out of Baldur's Gate are going to be the ones that are actually the enforcers that do stuff, but the Lord's Alliance elicits and recruits, adventurers into their ranks to help the things that would threaten the realm. And so the couriers that are going back and forth, there's a lot of traffic, and you find it, Valkyr, specifically odd at the volume. It seems every 45 minutes or so, one of these is coming past.
Are they on horseback?
Say again?
Are they on horseback?
They're on horseback. Who is actually directing you guys? I need a survival check.
That one.
Yeah.
Scary one.
Have I been to Daggerford before?
Yes, you would have as you came north from Baldur's Gate.
I'm heading to Daggerford to deliver the loot to Zera. And I've tried this route before. I'll take that point.
So
I
roll
can
it
help,
at
right?
advantage.
Yeah.
And as we're going south too, I'm calling out like different flowers and plants that I'm seeing and pointing them out to you guys.
And we're ignoring you.
16.
Mm-hmm.
Harsh.
I'm paying attention.
And a perception check from one of you who's kind of going to be watching the flanks.
I'll get it.
Okay.
23.
So you have, as you guys have been walking along the main road, as the horses, are thump, 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 and then shoot past you and move on. You haven't really been focused that much on the riders. You've been looking towards the tree line. As you guys are traveling south, that's off to your left.
Yep.
So you're still close enough, and in some instances, to